Welcome back, episode 9 of the Unprofessional Fives. Let's take a look at Blue Team. Reese's Pieces in goal. The Wizard, Alan Shembri-Wismire. Charles Gandini, the pickpocket. Ibrahim Salis, no face, no case. And Big Mish, Gilady Mihaili. Ibrahim coming off that record-breaking 7-goal game in the previous episode definitely announced himself as one of the most lethal strikers in the series. And if he can put together similar form like that, he's going to have a chance of becoming the top goal scorer and overtaking Gianluca. On the red team, pops in goal. Luca Gat, aka Gatman, one of the standouts of the series so far. On his team, he's got the heartthrob Manuel Bustos, Andre Kataya, aka Bullseye, and the Prophet Ezekiel Tawaya is back as well after a promising debut in the previous episode as well, alongside Ibrahim. There's a lot to play for in the penultimate episode of the Fives. Joined with me on commentary today and going to help us break down some of the head-to-head clashes that we've got today is Steve-O, aka Cameraman, aka the 5th placed goalkeeper, aka the voice of the Fives. Steve-O, how are you?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm doing fine, Dan. Thanks for that call out, being the last keeper in the standings. Maybe you should have invited me to more games.
We will get you back in the Fives and you can show us what you're all about in season 4. I promise you're going to get to see more of Steve-O on the field and you will be impressed with what you see. Steve-O is a very good shot stopper and I'm sure you're going to be up there in season 4 actually for when it comes to stat taking. I've not actually done the stats yet for season 4. It should be interesting to see where everyone finishes in that season.
Definitely, I think it's going to be a very, very good watch for season 4. Not just me, but obviously everybody else in the season. They were very exciting games. Not to mention this season is now coming to a close, and there's a lot to fight for in this game. And I'm excited to see how it ends up, especially with Manu and the return of Mish, seeing if he can fight his way back up to those leaderboards. Let's just have a look at this then.
Yeah, let's start off talking about Mish. Mish obviously has been on holiday for about 2 weeks now, and he missed, I think, 4 episodes while he was away in Hungary. So that hot, promising form we saw at the beginning has started to phase out, and he's no longer appearing on the leaderboards like he was at the beginning. I think he's actually, for the first time, been etched out of the goal-scoring leaderboard. And he was overtaken by Andre in the previous game, overtaken by Manu and Keon, who have also put themselves higher up on the leaderboard. So Misha's going to need a big game to try and get himself back up in the scoring charts.
I mean, to be fair, he's been taken over by players who we have hyped up a lot during the season as well. Players who have been playing on very, very good form. To be able to kick out Mish from the leaderboards, they do have to be players like that. But yeah, I made a prediction at the beginning of the season that Mish was going to be one of the standout players, and let's see if he can work his way back up today.
I mean, you've not been wrong. In the first few episodes that he played, definitely was one of those players that you look at and think, had he have played more games, he'd definitely be up there with a chance of being on top of the goal-scoring charts. Obviously, such a dangerous striker due to the unorthodox style he brings, being so good with the ball and aware of how to play small-sided football from his futsal background. And obviously, you can't teach someone to be 6'6", so definitely a dangerous player. You see Ibrahim on the ball, gives it across to Mish, and just like that we find out why Mish is so dangerous. Lurking at that second post, Ibrahim turns provider this episode, goes from 7 goals in the previous game to racking up his first assist of this game, laying it off to Mish in space at the back post, and Mish never in doubt there that he was going to finish that really.
I was actually about to mention that it might be a bit of a competition between Ibrahim and Mish in this game, because Ibrahim showing how prolific he is in front of goal, and Mish trying to get back on that horse, on that goal-scoring horse. So it's interesting to see how they're going to link up in this game, and if Ibrahim is actually going to get on the score sheet too.
Ibrahim obviously brings raw power, pace, strength. He is a very, very athletic player, and we saw last week that he can be clinical in front of goal. He's definitely going to want to add to that goal tally this episode. And if he can carry on that similar form of goal scoring, then there's no stopping him from catching Gianluca. Gianluca obviously sat on 17 goals right now. and Ibrahim sat on 7. So very, very close for him to, if he gets another game of 4 or 5 goals for the final episode, it's all to play for, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, Ibrahim definitely showing how good he is in front of goal. He needs to get a good game here. Realistically, it would mean that any of the players who would be providing him with the goals would also be working their way up on the assist tally as well. But I think it's a good team, it's a good setup from both ends, from both blue and red. This is, I think, shaping up to be a very, very good game.
Ibrahim is going to have to take chances like that, though. He can't be putting shots like that wide if he does want to finish as top goal scorer of the season. I think 2 of the key players we're going to have to watch out for this game is the one on the ball right now, Gatman, who's been one of the standout performers of the series so far, and Manu, the pink-haired heartthrob, as he's known in the series. Has been a bit of a dark horse so far, late arrival into the series, but has quickly become one of the standout players as Bullseye adds to his goal scoring chart there. Obviously sat on 8 goals so far in the games that he's played. He's going to need a big performance, much like Ibrahim, to try and get into the territory of challenging Gianluca, and it's clinical finishing like that. Gets a bit lucky riding a challenge from Reece, but a good finish just to tuck it into the bottom corner.
It was a very tight angle. I'm surprised how the ball actually went in, because it was a very unorthodox finish with the outside of the foot. Reece was backpedaling to try and get back into position after making a good tackle at first. But we're seeing the contrast here between Ibrahim and Andre, where Ibrahim couldn't capitalize on a one-on-one opportunity in front of Pops, and Andre just making an incredible finish there to work his way up on the tally board.
And don't sleep on the person that got the assist there. That was Manu, who is currently challenging Donis for most assists of the series. Donis currently sat on 12 assists. Manu has just taken his total from 9 up to 10 for the season, so only 2 more assists away. He's got 2 games to try and get those 2 assists. We'll see if Manu can overtake Donis, who has been sitting pretty at the top of the table now for a number of weeks, almost I think 7 weeks now he's been on top. And Ibrahim again just cannot apply the finishing touch. Pops does really well there to just get a last ditch fingertip to the ball.
Yeah, it was actually a very, very incredible save. After Pops didn't shower himself in glory after the first goal, definitely making up for it. And the last couple of minutes where he made some incredible saves and showing very, very good positioning. And even for Andre's goal, he was already up there on the halfway line trying to support the team in any way possible.
Luca doing a good job there to make the block, and that's an important point for him, because what you'll find out this episode, Luca and Charles Gandini both on opposite sides of the field, and they are both competing for the best defender right now, both tied on 71 defensive plays for the season. There is 2 games left. One man is going to have to try and separate themselves from the other, so it's a game like today where they can go head to head, where it's going to be more than important than ever to have a good defensive display. Who is your favourite so far to take over that top spot of the best defender?
I think, to be honest, now I've preferred the way that Charles plays. They both have a very marauding way of working their way up and down the pitch, with both Luca and Charles providing assists and scoring an odd goal here and there. But I do think Charles is a more solid person at the back. Sometimes showing a bit more awareness with the way the game is played. Even there, for example, seeing that Reece is out of his line, immediately running to goal to try and cover the potential shot. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. To be fair, this is a game of matchups. We're seeing Charles and Luca, we're seeing Donis being pressured by Manu, we're seeing Gianluca being pressured by Andre, and also by Manu, who are both playing in this game. So yeah, let's see how this turns out.
There are a lot of players in this game that do need the goals to try and get up the leaderboard. There's players needing assists. The goalkeeper situation, let's not sleep on that. Andre has actually played his final game of the season last episode, which gave him a lot of breathing room as he sits on 110 saves for the season now, with Reece on 87, Pops is sat on 83, but I can confirm for the next 2 episodes it's Reece and Pops, so they've got a golden opportunity here if they can get 20 saves a game like they're averaging at the moment, they will both overtake Andrea, and it's going to really be head-to-head between the two of them to see who will actually finish on top of the leaderboard as the best goalkeeper.
It is very, very close, and they've also played, I think, the most games, because I do think that they have a game in hand over Andrea too. Or it's Andrea. Andrea's actually has the extra game, but they will end up by the end of the season with a game in hand. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to stand against Andrea. Andrea showing his very, very prolific lead on the scoreboard. But I have faith in Reece.
Like that from Reece. Reece is just such a reliable goalkeeper. And with already having a 4-save lead, it's going to be tough for Pops to catch him.
Pops and Reece do show their different styles in goalkeeping though as well, with Pops being much quicker off the line to provide the flank keeper support, which does sometimes mean that he gets more goals scored against them, but he also gets on the scoreboard himself occasionally. And Reece is more of that standoffish kind of goalkeeper, amazing reflexes and amazing goal stopper in the box, but that is his domain and his territory, and the rest of the pitch is pretty much Pops.
I think that's definitely a stat I need to look into actually and provide a graphic for before the end of the season. The goals conceded. I think we haven't actually looked to see which goalkeepers conceded the most amount of goals. So that again would be a good way for us to understand really which goalkeeper's been the most reliable in goal. I know Pops has obviously been on the losing efforts of some pretty heavy defeats with some of his combinations of teams. Obviously conceded, I think, 10 goals in the first game as part of the Season 2 All-Stars. Had that blowout game where his team conceded, I think, 13 goals at the hands of Willie and TJ. So it'll be interesting to see which goalkeepers actually kept out the most amount of goals as well. So a lot of different interesting stats that come around as you get towards the back end of the season. And this is all things that we'll start to look into as the season comes to a close. Ibrahim driving out at the back, plays a lovely little pass, and Wizard there tries to play the final touch to get it across, but it has touched the net. It's going to go back out, and blue team are going to keep the ball. It's played through, and Mish really needs to convert from there. When you're 2 yards out, you really need to be hitting the target at least.
Yeah, Mish definitely needs to start capitalizing on these. He's had a couple of opportunities which he hasn't really shown up for in front of goal, and so has Ibrahim. But I did want to make a point about the goals conceded statistic, because that's where I'm going to be lucky that I only played one game, because at least I'll be first on one leaderboard.
That is a leaderboard for sure that you will be in a good stead for. Is Alan Shembri Wismeyer dazzles the players with some wizardry footwork there. Absolutely stunning. Great play there from Charles just to play the ball early. Don't underestimate the run there. Well-timed run from Al. And look at that double ball roll. Little left-footed touch just to roll it back in onto his favoured right foot. And a little poke past Pops. And that's 2-1 to the blue team, who have had a pretty balanced start to the game. It's been a close game so far, only one goal in it. Manu has a chance here to finish it off, and just like that, instant reply. And that's another assist for Manu and another goal for Andre. This is a lethal partnership being developed between the pair of them. And again, it's a 3-point goal for Andre that's going to help him on the MVP leaderboard as he gets the nutmeg on the finish there through the legs of Reece.
There's another interesting point about Manu though, Dan. We're seeing him showing up with an assist where he was one-on-one with the keeper, where he could definitely have got his own goal. So Manu showing how unselfish he is in front of goal, and how just prolific he is in every position on the pitch. He gets on the score sheet, he gets on the assist sheet. We saw him getting goal of the game last week as well, with an amazing effort. So yeah, Manu's definitely one to watch for the MVP leaderboard, I think.
I think as we come into those closing stages of the first half, Manu for sure right now probably has the edge over Luca, who's been a little bit quiet on that team, and he's going to need to step it up in the second half if he's going to want to try and keep that lead at the top of the MVP leaderboard. That's obviously the most coveted award you can win from the season. And I think for sure there's about 3 players that want to win that award, including the goalkeepers who have been having some late arrivals up the leaderboard too. Reece is one of those players that's been up and around the leaderboards. I know Andrea is currently in 3rd place, but I don't know how long he's going to be there for, as he doesn't play the next 2 games.
And especially if Reece or Pops manage to get in some goals in this game, as we've already seen both Pops and Reece having some shots off on goal. that's definitely going to put them in contention for the MVP leaderboard. Another interesting point about Manu and the MVP leaderboard, I think he might be the person who's closest to getting MVP without actually ever having been first or second on any of the other leaderboards.
Very true. So Manu has had that late arrival, but just because of how well-rounded he is on all of the leaderboards, he's actually found himself in a pretty good overall spot here as on the MVP chart, just because of his scoring points in every category possible. And Andre Kataya, again, with a big miss kick there, which ends up being a great pass to Ezekiel. The Prophet goes and lays it off to Luca, who takes the shot outside of the foot trivela, saved by Reece down low. And Andre, just, you can't write it, can you? Just right place, right time, it falls to him, and he belts it into the top corner as if he's never going to miss that chance ever. And oh my God, instant reply from blue team this time, but Mish with some absolutely amazing creativity there, catches Pops off guard, and that's got to be about a 10-yard backheel there. Through the legs of Potts. It's going to be a 3-point goal as well. Potentially a goal of the game. That could end up being an 8-point goal. Definitely going to help Mish's tally.
This is definitely what we were talking about earlier in this game about Mish, how his unorthodox style just helps him in this game, in these small format games. He had a the smallest of glances over his left shoulder to see where Pops was. So he knew exactly what he was going to do before the ball even arrived at his feet. That was very interesting from Mish, which is why we bigged him up so much at the beginning of the season, and showing why we did praise him so much.
Prophet makes a good block there just to deny Ibra in the final seconds of the first half. Ibra gets another chance. Pops makes the save. Andre is going to keep it on. It's 3-3 going into the final stages of the first half. The next time the ball goes out, it will be game over. Mish does a slide tackle. We're not going to end the half there. We're going to allow red team to take that free kick as Mish does get punished for making that last man challenge, and red team are going to have a free kick, and their reward is going to be they get to play on through to the extra time to try and get this goal from the free kick. Laid off, Andre takes the shot and it deflects wide for a corner, which they won't be allowed to take, and then we go into the half-time period. All square, 3-3 apiece. Steve-O, give us a little breakdown of the game so far.
It's been super balanced, I think, from both teams. Both teams have very good defensive players, very good attacking players, and the all-rounders to fill in the gaps in between. We've seen some incredible goals too, Andre and Mish showing their quality from both opposing teams. We've definitely seen some goals of the game in this half. I'm excited to see what the second half is going to bring, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be a cracking second half. Hopefully there's a few more goals to watch. I know both teams are quite balanced right now, but the game's been open. A lot of back and forth play. I think it's been a good balance of the central defender staying a bit more at the back, and then three players going forward at a time. It's been a very back and forth game.
And I guess that's what's giving the entertaining factor of this game as well, because once you do get that box-to-box, just up and down the pitch, leaving the defender to defend for himself, it also creates the opportunities for great goals, and we're seeing a great counter here now again.
Lovely footwork from Mish, and he finishes expertly there, just dispatches that into the bottom corner. Hat-trick for Mish. I was just about to talk about the hat-trick of Andre in the first half. Mish, 45 seconds in, gives blue team the lead with a lovely little ball roll. Takes it past the on-rushing Pops and taps it into the empty goal. Very, very Mish-like finisher. It's a very good Mish goal, typical of his play. Capitalising on a mistake and clinical. Ball played out to Mish here. Really should do better than that. Maybe tried to be a little bit unselfish there and play it to Ibra, but when you're competing for top goal scorer, there's really no excuse not to take the shot and go for goal there.
Yeah, that's why you need Manu on the team to provide assists for you, because I'm sure Ibrahim is crying for a goal over here and missing more opportunities when Pops left most of the goalpost open for him as well.
Ibrahim leaving you questioning really how he managed to score 7 goals in the previous game. His finishing has not been textbook of Ibrahim today. Definitely much more clinical in the previous game, and not showing that same killer instinct that he had. Definitely missing a few more chances than you'd expect, and he's been gifted some real opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net and hasn't taken them so far.
But Andre is definitely giving Gianluca a run for his money here on the most scored goals. I think if he managed to get a few more goals, he's going to be right up there with Gianluca in this game.
He's currently on 11, so he definitely has a good chance to get up there. Needs a few more goals to try and get himself that much closer to Gianluca, who is currently sat on 17 goals for the season so far. A pretty remarkable record, let's face it, from Gianluca. His goal scoring has been excellent throughout the series.
What do you think about the other players then, though? We've been talking about Mish and Andre and Manu as the standout players in this game. Who's your other standout player from excluding those three?
I think the Wizards had a good game. I think Alan has been a good addition to the series. He maybe hasn't played as much as we'd hoped for, but he has just come back from an operation. I think you're seeing every time he gets on the field now, with every episode, you're seeing more and more confidence and more fitness. He's looking sharper. His footwork is excellent. Just a joy to watch.
This is his third appearance now, right?
I believe it might be his second. I
Okay.
think he made one guest appearance in the Fives series first and then played 2 games in the Pro Series. But definitely one to watch. Would have loved to have had him for more games. His footwork is dazzling at times, hence the nickname. Pops tries to catch them out there, blue team, but doesn't get away with it. But yeah, I think the Wizard earned his nickname very well. He's just such a quick player, moves the ball so well, escapes such tight areas when you think that he's going to be drowned out, as Charles absolutely rattles the post there. Pops gets lucky to record a save from that one as the ball cannons off of him. Mish in a tight area there, can't find the corner. Manu ever so confidently brings the ball out of the back, and Charles, like the Rocky, is just there again. And Mish, if the backheel wasn't good enough to be goal of the game, almost gives us another goal of the game contender. But just look at that, Andre, when it comes to hitting the target, bullseye just doesn't miss.
And Pop's getting an assist there too.
Definitely going to help Pops on the MVP list, but look at this right-footed finish. Drills it low, hard into the corner. Nothing the goalkeeper could do about that one. Andre is a decorated finisher when it comes to these games.
Seeing some of these goals, though, I am glad that I didn't get many opportunities to play against Andre. He seems completely lethal in goal, in front of goal. Just stacking up these goals in this game too.
Just chances that you have no right to score from. I mean, there you'd expect the goalkeeper to save that from that sort of distance.
That was my first thought. I was thinking might Reese have done better over there, but then upon seeing the replay and just how well placed it was.
Corner of the corners. There's no denying how good that was. And Mish has a really good opportunity there to add his 4th goal of the game, but can't take it. Pops makes a wonderful save again.
We said earlier, though, when Mish took the ball around Pops and scored a very Mish-style goal, that was a very Andre-style goal, because the goals which he scored till now, he's been pretty lucky that the ball has come to his feet. He's done a lot of work himself in this game, a lot of underrated work too. The first goal, obviously, being his own efforts of continuing the run, but still lucky with the touch and the tackle that it came back to him.
Lovely little goal from blue team there. Another reply. This game is ping pong right now. It's going back and forth. 1 goal each team each time. Ow, again, this is why he's called the Wizard. Look at that footwork. Skips inside of the Prophet, plays the ball through to Ibrahim. Ibrahim gives it back to Al, and Al just taps it into the empty goal. That's definitely a clinical finish there. Lovely run, and to continue the run to get in front of the defender there. Really, really lovely stuff there from Al. That's the 2nd goal of the game. He's definitely going to be pushing on for a hat-trick now for sure. And the Prophet plays the ball out to Pops, who plays the ball through, and Luca trying to get the all-important touch. And Al, what footwork there. Unfortunate not to get on the end of it. It would have been a great opportunity had he have got there. Manu plays a cutting ball through. Andre, how has he missed that? You'd put your house on Andre scoring a goal like that.
And also an assist from Manu as well. Just the vision to be able to cut the ball through, making a very decisive intervention at the other side of the pitch to prevent a probable goal, and then almost showing up with an assist to create another one on the other side of the pitch.
Luca gets caught out in possession. It's Roda's luck. He's managed to get it back over to Andre. Andre's hit the post there and all things. Again, just in another situation where you just can't imagine anyone finding the back of the net. And he's managed to hit the post.
He does create a lot of these opportunities for himself, which are incredible opportunities, and I'm surprised he hasn't gotten another goal to his tally in this game. But maybe that's being a bit too greedy. He has had all of the goals for his team till now.
Charles is one of those players, I think if he could add just a little bit more goals to his game, he would be much higher up in the MVP leaderboard. Definitely one of the best defenders in the series. When it comes to assisting and playing out from the back, he's very, very comfortable and reliable, but we've definitely seen him drag a few chances wider than he needs to and just being a fraction wide of the goal each time. If you tally up a few of these chances that he's missed and add them as goals, he'd definitely have a better case for being higher up on the leaderboards.
But these games are all about fine margins then. When we're seeing the likes of Andre just hitting the post and then missing a chance and then scoring an absolute worldie, and realistically the only difference between those goals would just be a couple of inches. So it is a very game. It's like a very big game of fine margins. And Charles is definitely up there with the fine margins, with not being in his favour occasionally.
I think Red Team's having a few quiet performances today. I think the standouts obviously have been Andre and Manu. Prophet has been a bit quiet today. Haven't seen too much from Ezekiel. What have your thoughts on his performance so far?
Yeah, I agree. He hasn't really shown anything of substance in the game. He hasn't provided that much for his team, both offensively and defensively. We've seen how good he could be, but I think that Manu and Andre have been the standouts from the game. Luka having a very, very quiet game too.
Luka
when
also,
he's flying.
And this is a big game for him. Really, really needed to increase his lead at the top. Obviously, he's half a point in front of Gianluca at the moment, who isn't playing today. So this really was an opportunity for Luka to throw himself much higher up and create a big lead going into that final game. And with Manu being a direct competitor for him on his team, he really needed to show up and show out to create some distance between him and Manu. But it looks like Manu might have a chance of catching him up now at this rate.
But that's another reason why maybe Luka is having such a quiet game, because Luka is also one of those fill every role kind of player. So when Manu and Luka are showing up on the same team, they're just playing for the same role, and Manu just has that bit more tenacity to provide and score more.
How Ibrahim missed that opportunity, I do not know. Potts makes an amazing save, but really, Ibrahim has no excuse for not hitting the back of the net now. Blue team should be 2 goals to the good here. Misha's going to try and get that point anyway, and they have. Charles manages to finally add a goal. You can see the frustration Charles releasing from his body there, finally getting his name on the goal sheet. Mish, good work in the middle there, skips past Manu, plays a nice ball past 2 players into the space. Charles just chilling at the back post. Delays just a little bit, which makes Potts step the opposite way and then opens up that near post for him just to take the finish. Good goal from Charles.
Very, very good goal. And just waiting over there for his opportunity. Where he didn't see any joy from trying to create for himself. He just decided to take up a good position and let the team create for him.
Red team now 2 goals down for the first time in what feels like for the first time all game. Obviously the game's been so close up until then, and Red team have a free kick right now.
Yeah, it's the first time any of the teams have been up by more than 1 goal, because it's been just draw till now. Just one of the teams just edging it out slightly, but the blue team are edging it out now. I do think Red team have the quality on the ball to be able to get back into the game, especially if Andre decides to turn it back on and get a bit more goals. But I do think he needs a bit more support from the rest of the team too.
Yeah, Red team definitely need a few players just to show up a little bit more to stop ghosting, really. Let's face it, Ezekiel's had a bit of a quiet game. He could definitely be doing more. Touches like that aren't going to help his case. Slow day for him. I think maybe he had said in the morning to me that he had trained legs before the game, which would make sense because he is looking a little bit heavy than usual. Not his quick-footed self that we usually see. Misha on the break. Pops has been put into a bit of danger, but Pops ever so reliable on the ball as a goalkeeper. Luka just needs to show a little bit more for us, but we've seen him throughout the series show his best self, so for sure he's set a level so high that I think probably when he doesn't deliver that at a high level of expectation, it's almost a disservice to just how well he's played throughout the rest of the series, that you have that expectation that he is going to put in that performance every single game.
Definitely. I think what's considered an average or a quiet game for Luka would be considered a standout game for another player just because of the standard which he sets for himself in some of the other games. And we're seeing that, I mean, he is top of the MVP leaderboard. He's on nearly every single other leaderboard too. So he's definitely showing up with these accolades. Had a very good opportunity here to get more of a lead on Gianluca, because any point he gets here is a point in hand over Gianluca, seeing as Gianluca isn't playing. But I do think it's just such a balanced team and a balanced game. I don't think any of the players are really having a very, very standout game, apart from Andre, of course, coming off with all of those goals.
Yeah, Andre definitely having a good goal scoring game. We'll be looking to add to it before the game ends. Manu with a corner here. Red team have 4 minutes to try and make some magic now, because it's getting to the later stages of the game and they need something to get them back in it. It's not going to be like that. Ibrahim plays the ball across to the Wizard. Wizard bearing down on goal, goes round the goalkeeper, lays it back. And Ibrahim has hit the post. Two players on the line.
Lucky in front of goal this game.
Yeah, Ibrahim, I don't know what has happened. It's like a case of Mr. Jackal and Dr. Hyde, because it's absolutely ridiculous how many chances he's missed. As we're saying that, Luca finally shows up with a goal and buries a chance here. First goal of the game for him. Well taken. Andre gets a bit lucky there, rides the tackle of Charles, brings the ball through the middle, left wide open there at the second post, and he makes no mistake of that finish there.
But Luca showing up at just the right moment maybe for Red Team to get back into the game. Maybe spurring the rest of the players on for an inspiring late comeback.
They have 3 minutes to do so if they're going to make it happen. Ball comes out to Mish. I think Pop's got a fingertip to that. No, just blasted wide there, blasted wide, and Andre's now going to counter-attack for Red Team. Comes through it, drills the shot low against, was that Mish that made the block there. Luca on the ball, looking to try and dictate something from the back, waiting for some movement, not really getting the movement he needs from his team. Manu's going to pick up the ball from deep here as well. Try and play the ball through, and it is going to go off for a corner. Ezekiel on the ball, plays it back. How has Reece saved that? Unbelievable save from Reece. Maybe a game-winning save. Ibra driving out of the back now. He has to try and find the pass there. Definitely has to try and find the pass. Manu plays the ball forward. Charles, ever so reliable, comes and snuffs that out straight away. Red team sensing the urgency now. 1.5 minutes on the clock. It's now or never for them. 1 goal in it. They need to make the turn. And that is a ridiculous save from Reece at the near post there to deny Luca. And now blue team are going to try and get away. Well done there from Manu. Great defending. Pops is going to lead the counter-attack. The one-arm bandit driving out from the back, plays it across. And Reece, for the 3rd time, makes an unbelievable save to deny the red team. Red team aren't going to waste any time getting the game back underway. Gives the ball. Charles is going to pick it up. Thought about the shot from deep, but instead chooses to play out from the back. Hours on the ball, plays it across. Ibrahim finds Al, and that is a hat-trick. Blue team punish the red team. But oh my God, while we talk about Al's finish there to get the hat-trick, let's just give Reece his flowers. 3 remarkable saves in the space of about 20 seconds to deny red team. And he couldn't save that one. Very unfortunate for Charles there. Realistically, that was an own goal, but we are going to credit Andre with the goal like we did for Milky Bar Kid in Season 2. Great effort, similar to the goal he scored in the first part of the second half there. Drills it low with his right foot, cannons off the post, hits Charles and goes into the goal as Reece mercilessly lays on the floor, unable to get the touch. Red team have about 10 seconds now to try and equalise, but I think it might be too late here as Reece makes another save. This last 2 minutes has been remarkable for Reece. Blue team on the ball. Ibra looking to drive out from the back. Ball is now at the dead zone. The next time it goes out, it is game over. Lovely footwork from Al, through on goal. Is he going to turn? Provider gives it to Ibra. How has Ibra missed that? Terrible finishing from Ibra. Ball out to Manu. They could get punished even more, but Reece makes the phenomenal save. Pops on the ball. He's going to bring the ball out. Played back across. And Mish makes the all-important touch to kick it out of play. Blue team have escaped victors of the game by 1 goal, all thanks to Reese. If there was a man of the match given just for the final 30 seconds of the game, for sure Reese is winning it. But I'm sure the stats will say otherwise. I'm interested to see who will win man of the match for this game, because there's been a few players that have had some outstanding games today.
There have been some very good individual performances in this game. Not to mention those last 2 minutes from Reese. Those saves were just keeping his team in the game. I don't know how he made some of those saves, to be completely honest. Some just seem so unprecedented and
just last-ditch efforts, just hurling himself across the goal like his life depends on it. And boy, is he going to capitalise on those saves. I'm sure that's going to have given him a little bit of a lead over Pops, realistically, going into the end of the match. But it's probably quite even until the end of the match, until he made those saves. And now he's probably looking quite handsome at the top now. Charles has actually been awarded man of the match. I'm sure it's going to be due to a well-rounded defensive display. He also got his name on the goal sheet. We're going to take a look at Charles's highlight package from the game to see what he was up to. But for sure, definitely one of the players of the game. They could have gone to a few players for sure. I think Mish had a good game. The goalkeepers had good games. There we go. Look at that. 28 points for Charles. 32 defensive plays. Maybe left Luca for dead now in the defensive display category. 2 assists and 1 goal. Let's face it, in terms of an all-round performance, I don't think you can complain with that.
Yeah, I don't think you want anything more from a player who's so solid at the back, to also provide 3 goal contributions and coming up with a goal himself too. Absolutely ridiculous from Charles there.
Looking at goal of the game, it has been awarded to Mish. I think I know which goal it's going to go for. It's going to be that ingenuitive finish here. Look at that. Just catches Pops completely off guard. No one expected the backheel. Only Mish had this in his locker and had the idea in his head, and to pull it off just so expertly just makes it look easy. Effortless backheel from distance through the legs of Pops to top it off. It's an 8-point goal here from Mish. Amazing goal.
I think the only 2 people who had the quality to pull this goal off were the 2 people on the opposing teams in Andre and Mish. And Mish definitely showing why we praised him so much at the beginning of the season, coming up with an incredible goal. And I think his first goal of the game as well over there.
We've seen 3 backheel attempts in the whole of the Unprofessional Fives. We've got Melvin Akinboye's absolutely worldy goal in season 1, where he backheeled it into top corner of the goal. We had my outrageous backheel shot attempt that ended in a torn hamstring and me crying on the floor in pain. And now Mish has added his name to that list of legends in the Fives as the only other player to successfully complete a backheeled goal alongside Melvin Akinboye.
Maybe we need to add another leaderboard to
that could be a leaderboard to really understand who is hitting those amazing goals. That really was a flary finish. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of the leaderboards after week 9, because I'm sure there's going to be some movement now going into that final episode, the all-important episode. And let's start off with the most goals. Steve-O, talk us through the goal scoring chart right now.
Yeah, Gianluca's still sitting pretty in first in the most goals leaderboard, but Andre creeping up there, coming very, very close.
5 goals from him today.
Yeah, 5 goals.
One maybe a little bit fortunate to be credited for it. Maybe a Charles' own goal was a fairer reflection of it. But you know what we like? We like stats here, so we're going to give the striker the benefit of the doubt.
But still, just 4 goals in between Gianluca and Andre. Even if he was credited with just 4 goals from this game, still in very, very close contention, and still sitting pretty in second as well, with quite a large distance between him and Manu. And Manu showing up with another game over Keon, but Keon still being there in 4th. And me showing again on the leaderboard in 5th. We were saying that he spent his time away, kicked him off of all of the leaderboards, where he was pretty much present in all of them, but he's right there again, sitting in 5th.
I think a hat-trick for Mish overall there definitely would have played a part to put him much higher up on that leaderboard. So definitely good from him. and he's going to look to hopefully maintain that position going into that final week. He isn't actually playing in the final game, so he's going to have to be reliant on other players not overperforming him in that final match day to keep his name on the charts. Definitely falling victim to absence and not being available in those final games. Tell us about the assist chart.
The assist chart was as predicted. Manu is right there, breathing down Donis's neck. Donis obviously still in first. Hopefully he will be showing up for the last game of the season to battle it out for the top assist, because this is really where Manu can really take his gold medal. We mentioned during the game that Manu hasn't shown up in first or second in any of the leaderboards up until this point. And right now he's there sitting in second after this game with most assists. Luka Mijic with 9, Gianluca with 6, and Willie with 6 as well. So also a very good opportunity for them to come up with more assists if they're showing up in the next game too.
Would you say perhaps a bit of a missed opportunity from Manu in this last episode? Only 2 assists.
I do think so. Coming off of his amazing performance in last week's episode, this was a bit more of a quiet game for him. But again, I think he's just fallen victim to his own success here, because he's provided us with such an amazing performance the week before. I don't think anything he could have done this week was going to hold a hat to that performance. But he's still there, third in the most goals, second in the most assists. It's definitely going to help him climb up the leaderboard for MVP.
And when we look at the best defender chart, he's sat there in third place. Another new arrival for Manu. Third place of the defender chart. Surely at this point, the MVP lead is going to be very, very slim for Luka, who is also clinging on by dear life to top spot maybe. Manu's definitely going to be breathing down his neck. Charles, ridiculous lead at this point. That 32 defensive display game today, I think has really cemented his position as the top player now. Considering
that Charles and Luka were playing in the same game this week, and he's just completely blown him out of the water now, just shows Charles's dominance in his defensive capability, but also showing that by winning man of the match as well, with his amazing defensive contributions. Luka, as we said, had a bit more of a quiet game, also fallen victim to his own success, but still sitting in second. Manu in third, as you correctly said, Dan. Luka Mijic showing there, and Willie in fifth.
Let's take a minute just to quickly appreciate Luka and Willie's performances. Third place for Luka in the assist chart, fourth place in the defenders chart. Willie is sat in fifth place in both the assists and the defenders chart. Maybe a few dark horses there. They could have played a few more games and maybe they'd be, again, contenders for the top of the charts here. They really are been reliable players when we've seen them play. Definitely put on some good performances for us. Maybe just fallen victim to not having enough of those kind of performances.
I do think there were a few of those players who could have gained a very, very significant advantage over some other players with a bit more appearances. Keon also being one of those who we were predicting would give Gianluca a run for his money in the most goals department, but sadly didn't show up for any more episodes.
2 games and 9 goals. I mean, that's outrageous numbers. Outrageous
statistics,
output.
Yeah.
Had he have even played 2 more games at that level of output, he'd be sat on 18 right now. So definitely a missed opportunity for Keon, who went away with international duty and was unavailable for the rest of the games because of that. But that's what you get with professional players. Sometimes national team comes calling and you can't say no to the national team.
And talking about missed opportunities due to unavailability, if we go to the most saves leaderboard, we are now seeing Andrea being pushed to second place by Reese's incredible performance. Potentially those last 2 minutes giving him the edge over Andrea, but with another game to play, Reese is already in first. So Andrea has already lost his gold medal in that. We just need to see if Pops is going to be able to take over his silver medal, but with 110 for Andrea and 106 for Pops, and Pops averaging 15 to 20 saves a game, I can't see Andrea keeping his silver medal in this leaderboard either. It's been an interesting battle through the whole season between Reese, Andrea and Pops, but I think just the volume of games for Pops and Reese are just going to edge them out over Andrea in the end.
So one thing to note is going into that final 2 minutes of the game, Andrea was still on top spot. Those 4 or 5 saves that Reece pulled out in the final 2 minutes of the game took him to 27 in total for the entirety of the match, which, as you can see, 4 is the difference in the actual leaderboard. So Reece coming up clutch when it matters. Pops, 23 saves that game. A huge game for him. And it's going to be all to play for in that final game, which I can confirm is going to be Reece versus Pops once again to decide who is going to be crowned the best goalkeeper of the Fives with the most saves. Crazy conclusion to the series. The level of excitement that we want. And now looking at the all-important leaderboard, Steve-O, talk us through how the MVP leaderboard looks going into the final episode of the Unprofessional Fives.
So prior to this game, Luca was sitting pretty in first, very, very close to Gianluca with just half a point. Just a half a point between Luca and Gianluca. Obviously, Gianluca not playing in this game, so any points that Luca is going to get are points in hand, as we've already said during the game. But now we're seeing our dark horse Manu just breathing down his neck, 1.5 points now. So he's increased the distance at least between him and Gianluca, but he's increased the distance between first and second by 1 point. Still very, very close. Still all to play for in the last game between Luca and Manu. Hopefully we can see Gianluca in the last game too, coming up with an amazing game to potentially overthrow both of them and upsetting them both. Maybe if he comes up with some goal of the game and man of the match performance, definitely going to see him up there in the MVP. But Reece, unfortunately, being pushed down to 4th. Another goalkeeper still in the MVP, very, very close to Gianluca. And Charles also being there in 5th. We are definitely seeing some of the standout players from the whole season in this MVP leaderboard. People who we have sung their praises pretty much throughout the whole season. But I'm excited to see this Luca, Manu and Gianluca battle for first, second and third.
I think you're also sleeping on Reece, who's only 1 point behind Gianluca and playing in that final game as well. Reece could put together a crazy game that day and there's nothing stopping him. I mean, let's face it, if he gets a clean sheet, he's stopping other players from scoring. So he's not only directly increasing his score by getting saves, he's denying other people points. So a good game from Reece really could prevent the other team from scoring goals and getting points on the board. But let's have a look quickly at the story that is going to unfold in the final episode. The lineups have been announced. And on the red team, we are going to have Pops, Ibrahim, Ezekiel, Ferrari winger Joe Willie, and TJ, all on one team. That is a strong lineup for red team.
Very, very physical lineup.
Very physical lineup. We know that Willie is one of the most mature defensive players in the series at the moment. TJ, dangerous as ever. Ibrahim is 50-50 right now. Will he have a game like episode 8 or will he have a game like episode 9? In one game, he scores 7. In the next game, he doesn't score. So that'll be interesting to see what version of Ibrahim we get.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to tune into next week's game to see if he shows up or if he stays home, I guess.
Rivaling them on the blue team, Reece's Pieces in goal, battling it out alongside Pops in the opposite corner to try and win both the most saves of the series as well as competing for that overall MVP spot. We have Ivan Bojovic making his return. We have Donis Quintero, Manu Bustos and Gianluca all on the same team, which means not only will Manu be competing directly alongside Donis for most assists of the series in that final game, he will also be competing directly with Gianluca and Reece for top spot of the overall MVP leaderboard. There is a lot to play for and there is a lot on the line in this final game. Luca unfortunately misses out this match, which could be the decisive factor. I don't see Manu not getting 1.5 points in that match. So unfortunately, it might be the end for Luka's reign on top of the MVP leaderboard.
Yeah, where it's been pretty much fought out between Luka and Gianluca and the MVP leaderboard for pretty much the whole season. Manu has made this amazing run for first place. Can't see him getting less than 1.5 points in the last game, especially on the back of these couple of performances. Maybe that's why he was so quiet this week, so that he can give an amazing performance next week. But Gianluca, let's not sleep on Gianluca, because he's up there already in first for most goals. He's going to want to put even more space between first and second to just show his dominance in that area. So I think it's going to be a very close ending to this season.
I mean, at this rate, I think it's quite safe to confirm, with the absence of Bullseye in that final game, Gianluca has most likely won top goal scorer of the series, unless Manu can score 8 goals in one game and break Ibrahim's record.
Which would definitely put him up there for MVP.
But again, don't sleep on Gianluca's goal scoring record. He is capable of putting 5 goals in a game quite comfortably, and only being 7 points behind Manu right now in the race for number 1 spot of the overall MVP. It's definitely in his capabilities to be able to take that spot last second and overtake both players in front of him. I think the next episode is going to be a good one. I can't wait for it. What about you, Steve?
I'm very excited to see these two teams. Some returning faces, which we haven't seen for a couple of episodes now. I'm excited to see Willie return back. As we said, he's last in the most assists and in the best defensive leaderboard. So we can see if he can work his way up on those as well. But always a very exciting player to see. And the return of Donis too. So I'd like to see the matchup between Donis in attack and Willie in defense for the opposing teams.
Definitely some exciting matchups to be found in that final game. Until next week, guys, we are going to leave you there. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at UNprofessional Football Fives. There's been daily content every single day for the past 9 weeks. People have been loving it. There's been leaderboards being posted every single day, highlights of the games. You're getting goal of the game added there. Lots of content to digest. So make sure you go and follow us on Instagram and tag along with the action there. Make sure you subscribe to the Unprofessional Footballer on YouTube to make sure that you are here for the final next week. You don't want to miss that episode dropping to your sub box on Saturday at 6 p.m. It's going to be a banger. Me and Steve will be back on commentary to take you through the final game of the season, talk you through all the things that matters, all the stats at the end, and overview the season, and take a look back at what has been an absolute goldmine for content and for players showcasing their abilities. Make sure you leave a like on today's episode. Again, it was another impressive game, and be sure to comment down below if there's anyone else that you would like to see in the series moving into season 4 and 5 of the Unprofessional Fives. Guys, that's been enough from us, and we will see you next week.